One. Hi everyone, welcome back to JPWHU TV. My name is John, your host as always. This is the introduction to our brand new Patreon squad player and left back, if I remember correctly, Tony Blackwell. Tony, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good, John. How's yourself?
I'm doing well. Ever since we recorded, that lag we were having beforehand seems to have disappeared. So maybe now I've introduced you properly. That's probably what's caught it. Skype's gone, oh, we need somebody listening now. So basically, mate, this is completely an open Q&A. There's nothing scripted apart from one thing which we'll talk about in a little while, as I said, because today the December schedule for all the games has been announced. So Tony, introduce yourself, mate. Tell us who you are, where you're from, how you got into West Ham, that kind of thing.
Tony, I'm originally from the East End. I was only 10 minutes up the road from Upton Park. Moved that to Harlow now. But basically I've enjoyed football and West Ham from an early age. I've actually worked at West Ham and saw the likes of Frank Lampard and Rio, etc., going through the ranks, and then obviously seeing where they are now. So it's good to see it. And but like everything else, it's good to be on board with you, John. Found you, like I said, the other week, and been really impressed by how you do things.
That's bearing in mind all the cock-ups that's been going on over the last couple of weeks, mate. I take that as a big compliment. So when you were at West Ham, what was the things you were doing?
I was basically the fifth physio for the under-15s.
All right, okay. So, how long was that running for?
I was there for a couple of years, but then me and Jimmy Neighbour had a bit of a falling out, and my time was done, basically.
Okay, so with in the under-15s, who did you get to interact that obviously went on and made up, apart from obviously Lampard, as you just said? Who else were you able to interact with to get to know a little bit?
Well, I say it was mostly those two. The others really just fell by the wayside. I mean, you saw Lee Hodges, he moved on. Jason Garrity, unfortunately, suffered a cruciate ligament injury, and that was his pro career finished. He ended up playing semi-pro in the end, so it was good to meet up with him again in years to come when I was there.
All right, nice, good. It's nice to hear. I mean, because it's always good that people you keep in touch with certain people and everything. And sometimes that life's like that. You literally bump into somebody, and all of a sudden you're like, where the bloody hell did you come from? My dad had that a lot before he passed on. He was literally an old friend of his. When he was in the army, hadn't seen for 20 odd years, and all of a sudden just walked round the corner and was boom, there he was. So that's the funny thing about life. It has a weird way of doing things to you as well as for you as well. Okay, so now obviously because we're as of basically as of Wednesday next week, we're going into is coming out of lockdown but still being in lockdown. What have you, with the exception of West Ham and a few other bits and pieces, what else have you been doing to keep yourself sane since March?
Well, fortunate enough, I've got my football teams and that, so I'm basically the chairman of it now. I used to manage it years ago, so it's good to see them two teams still carrying on. But obviously, with lockdown, it's just put everything on the back burner. So it's been frustrating, to say the least, especially when our reserves were doing better than the first team. Well, typical record there, really. But yeah, with lockdown, everyone's chomping at the bit to get back, so they can't wait now. So the league we're in, they've released some new fixtures, and I've just been badgered left, right, and centre. When are we starting back up again?
I can imagine on that, because at the end of the day, like you're saying, especially with the kids who are playing well, better than the first team. I mean, we know that we've seen our juniors being outperforming teams when we were down in the championship and everything. So, it's a happy memory. Okay, so talking of the football itself, what was the first memory you've got of a West Ham game? Were you actually there, or were you listening to it on the radio? What was your first memory?
My first kind of main memory, obviously, was when we won the FA Cup and being on the Barking Road and watching the team bus come through. That was my most memorable kind of moment, being involved with West Ham.
Okay, there. So not to make you feel too old, Tony, mate, but that was the day I was born in the FA Cup final of 1980. Trust me, I hate to say it. It makes I can kind of understand why we've done bugger all over the last 40 years as a result of it. To be honest, I do. People say about the West Ham curse. Sometimes I think it's me, because even though I've only been a season ticket holder and properly been following I've been a season ticket holder since 2009, and I've been properly following the team since the late 90s, early 2000s. It's been around about that sort of time that we ain't been doing all that well. Do you know what I mean?
No Judas involved.
So it is. It's quite. When people say the West Ham curse, including myself, I'm kind of thinking, am I at fault? That might be one of the reasons why I'm stepping away. I guarantee, because unless an absolute miracle happens next season, towards the end of this season, I'm not being a season ticket holder anymore. And I've got a funny feeling that when I stop being a season ticket holder, we might start doing well.
I must admit, I stopped renewing my ticket with Pellegrini. That was enough for me.
In what way?
I just didn't like the style of football. It was just, there was no kind of positivity going forwards. It was just either keep it in the midfield area, go back, midfield area, go back. There was no kind of pushing it forward to kind of score. We just seemed to kind of go through the motions, and it just got to the stage where it was just boring.
Yeah.
It got too repetitive in what he was doing all the time. It just seemed to be the same old, same old.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But unfortunately, at the same time, mate, we've seen that year in, year out with all the other managers we've had over the years, unfortunately. I mean, with the exception of, I'd never thought I'd say this, with the exception of Allardyce. I was never a big Allardyce fan. I was one of the many that, I never boo when I go to football. I never boo. But that night when we drew against 10 men Hull, I think, if I remember correctly, when Allardyce put his hand up to his ear, I was one of them. That was awful, that game. Terrible. But at the same point, I know where you're coming from with Pellegrini, because at the end of the day, that sort of tactics is the fact that I've been outplayed. I haven't got an idea. We see it. We've seen it season after season, but yeah, it's just the horrible thing is that that's the way that modern day football is. We're losing that British identity and Maradona passing away the other day, yesterday I should say, by the time of this recording, that really sort of brought home that. As great as a footballer he was, we've all got, apart from the obvious memory that everybody's got with him, he embodied the sort of spirit that we want to see as from our West Ham players. That's that all guns blazing and very, very accurate thought, and his thought in his head was able to do a Bobby Moore style, getting further into the seeing the past 3 or 4 passes in front like Messi can as well, that sort of thing. And it was. And my mum's side of the family are all West Ham. That's where the connection comes with me. And my uncle vowed never to walk into London Stadium, and he hasn't since we moved. And and it's because the West Ham that we all know and love has died. It has gone. It's not the. Moving hasn't exactly helped things, but the atmosphere, such as it is at the London Stadium, isn't exactly complimentary. It isn't exactly what we were wanting in terms of watching football itself. It's literally a case of we've got to grin and bear it. It's like living with a girlfriend you can't break up from. You're not happy being there, but you don't not want to go at the same point.
Yeah, of course.
It is a very unhappy marriage for a lot of us.
It is, unfortunately. With the Boleyn, there wasn't much we could do with it. We couldn't expand outwards. We bought the church and the school, but the cost of moving the pitch around, which they were planning to do, was just too fast.
But at the same point, we're in the same situation now, just in with the same amount of money that's not available. That's half the problem. I know what you mean. It didn't harm Chelsea any problem. They had roughly the same sort of capacity, a few thousand more than us for their ground. But at the same time, all right, granted they had an open checkbook for 15 years before the rules changed. But at the same time, You don't need a whacking great stadium. You just need a decent team to follow.
Well, no, of course. I mean, when you look at it, it all looked all rosy, didn't it? First of all, sold a dream.
Oh yeah,
New stadium. It'll be the same as bowling. We'll have all the fans up against the pitch, and of course, it never happened. And you know what? We bought a couple of decent, I'll say, fairly okay players to kind of get us where we are. But again, it comes down to the same old thing. I mean, it's strange that we've got no money, but yet we've sold the Upton Park. We're paying only £3 million a year for the ground itself in rent, etc. So where's the money gone?
Well, this is it, mate. I mean, as I say, that it's paying everybody else off, and what we're understanding, we're still paying the LA debt off. We're still paying. I think we're still paying Yarmolenko. I think that's how deep the debt runs. But the interesting thing about what's come out recently with this the fact that Jack Wilshere just won't shut up about West Ham and all this sort of stuff. Ignore it. I mean, I've ignored it. I mentioned it when he first came out. He's still being interviewed and all this sort of stuff, and he's now saying that it'd be a dream to go back to Arsenal. Well, yeah, because we were paying him more than Arsenal were. We were paying him extra, was it 10 or 20 grand a week more? Of course, he wants to go back and not. But it's the mental.
I say it's typical Gold and Sullivan, isn't it? We'll do that. We'll pay X amount, and hopefully the fans will be pleased. But we all know the truth of that.
Absolutely. I said when he signed that it was a PR stunt, big PR stunt. I did not buy that he was a West Ham fan at all. I know we've seen the photographs of him in kits and stuff as a kid, but how he's dealt with himself, the way he's been interviewed afterwards, proves he's not a West Ham fan. You don't come out and slate all the stuff that he's doing. He's now done 180. He's now saying, well, my game wasn't really suiting to West Ham. Is it what? Your game for sitting on the bench for 95% of the season? Yes, that's not what we want. He was a very, very talented footballer. I never took that away from him. But at the same time, we especially in the situation we've been finding ourselves in the last 4 or 5 seasons, is the fact we need a player that is going to help with stability. Not being able to rely on somebody, especially on those ridiculous wages, is not the sort of player that we need. And I'm hoping in the next coming seasons that if and when the two Davids do sell up, before then, that they actually start realising, all right, well, let's not try and just tempt them with big money moves, because it doesn't help. It just makes the situation worse, and that's where all the money's going. It's the agent fees are climbing up, and FIFA and the FA and the Premier League aren't doing anything to give them a wage cap. That's the more important thing. For example, what was it when oh God, I've just forgotten his name now. That ridiculously overhyped Man United player. In their midfield, Paul Pogba. When his deal went through with Man United, his agent got how much we spend on a striker alone, just as the agent fee. It was unbelievable. Yes. And yet nobody's allowing, nobody's saying anything. We're all calling for wage caps for players because we need to have a wage cap, but at the same time, agents need to be capped as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing that kills a lot of clubs, is these agents. And the worst part about it, they're actually dictating things, not the actual kind of the club and the player, it's more the agent.
Yeah, and to a degree, I can understand why they do what they do, but at the same time, you don't need that amount of money. I mean, nobody needs the amount of money that people have in football, from managers, players, etc., etc. Don't get me wrong. If somebody said to me, John, I want to pay you 20 grand a week for the job you're doing, I'll snap their hands off. But at the same time, that's me being modest. 120 grand a week, I'd laugh in their face. It's.
But then you see some of them players come off the buses or the coaches kind of thing, face like a slapped ass. You think yourself, hold on. You think about some of these people that are paying season ticket prices, ain't got, can't rub 2 penny together, some of them, but yet you're walking out as if like you've been kicked in the balls.
Yeah, and I know, from a very, very young age, that's all they know. They just know football. They know they have they have the little school roomings, but school rooms themselves, and they have but they like the academy boys, as you'd know, they're all sleeping rooms where there's 2 or 3 of them in a room and all that sort of stuff, but they don't get to see the real world. They don't go shopping the way that we do. They don't go. They don't have to pay for TV license or all their everything's just this. It's the reality of it, and that's what I'm saying about football is dying, because back in the old days, even like to the late 80s, early 90s, before the Premier League started, which is half of the reason why football's in the state that it is half the reason behind it is because that mentality of playing because you want to play rather than playing because you want to get a lot of money in your back pocket now. As crap as he was for us, I absolutely respected Mido when he came to us. He said, "No, I only want £1,000 a week." I thought, fair play to yourself. Yeah. I mean, we obviously found out why he only wanted £1,000 a week, but especially for that penalty that he took against Everton. Oh Christ. One of the I was thinking about this because after the Fulham game we had a conversation about what was the worst penalty you've ever seen, and I still maintain that Lookman's is the worst I've ever seen, but Mido's was very, very close behind it. Very, very.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I make you right there. Oh dear.
So it's hard to be a football supporter, especially obviously now and these terms. And we found out today that only 10 of the 20 football Premier League teams are going to be allowing people into the stadiums.
Yeah, again, it's moving goalposts again, isn't it? Pardon the pun. I mean, it just seems like they get your hopes up, and then before they get your hopes up, it's a case of like, let's pull the rug away again.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But I think that, like everything else at the moment, it just seems to be the so-called normal way of life. That's what things are happening all the time. 1 minute you can do this, and you can't. Mad.
I mean, it's understandable. It's understandable to a degree, because obviously there's nobody knows what's going on at the moment. We don't understand. I mean, we obviously understand what the impact is and everything, but we don't have that level of normality that we're all craving for. But one thing I don't understand about it, and it'd be interesting to see the thinking behind this, is that Liverpool has been known to be one of the highest cases of the coronavirus in England, yet the Liverpool supporters are able to go in.
You know the word, don't you? Money talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what was it, that line that Danny DeVito says in Twins? Money talks and bullshit walks. I mean, but for those that don't know, because obviously this is going to be going up to YouTube 24 hours after it goes up to the Patreons. Arsenal, Brighton, Chelsea, Palace, Everton, Fulham, Liverpool, Southampton, Spurs, and our lot are the only teams that are able to have a maximum of 2,000 fans in there. Now, it's because it's a 50-50 split. Personally, I think that they should stop it. I really genuinely think that they should make sure that, because as far as I'm concerned, and Tony, feel free to disagree with me if on this, but it should, if it's not everybody, no one should go in.
No, I think you're right there, John, because at the end of the day, why should other people benefit from, it just seems, when you look at something like that, as you said, people got all excited when they heard, you can get 2,000 fans into a stadium. Everyone's thinking, great, at least one of us might be able to get in there. And then they're telling you this. No, you can't pick it's like you're picking the elite from the poor kind of thing. You can't do that.
And this is the worrying thing, because I guarantee the majority of those that are on the list of people that are going to be offered to go in, offered being the operative word, I'm guessing, is the majority of them are going to be bondholders, because they always take first priority. And possibly corporate as well, because the corporate has to be factored in as well. Again, for the same reasons, the sponsors are going to want to get their people in there to watch the games to make sure they're getting the value for money. It's just it worries me. Like, but it's all about it's good that they're bringing people back. You know, I will be in the raffle, so to speak, to go in there and not. But if I get an email saying you've been chosen, I don't know if I'm going to go in or not. To be honest with you, I really don't know if.
I'll ask you that question. If you got given the choice now, what would you do?
I'm in two minds about it. I'm not gonna mix my words. I'm literally in two minds about it because I can't wait to get back and see football live, of course, like everybody else.
Yeah.
But 90% of the day for me is interacting with my mates. You know, I haven't seen a lot of these guys since March time, and you know, it's just like I don't see the appeal of sitting around having nobody around me within 2 meters. As I'm an asthmatic, for one, I can't be sitting there with a face covering for 2 hours. I can't do it. I won't be able to do it. I do shorter journeys than that, and I'm struggling with it. But that's half the thing. I mean, what's going to happen if we score? What the hell's going to happen? Are we going to sit there like people at the opera going, "Oh yes, well done, dear boy, yes," you know? Because that's basically what they're talking about, is people celebrating in that sort of way.
Of course, I mean, it's a natural thing, isn't it? As you said, your team scores in that. The first thing you want with enjoyment and having that kind of taken away. I mean, you imagine the same thing though. You know, it's not going to feel the same, is it? Trying to have one stand shout to the other stand, it just seems wrong. I mean, the atmosphere is going to be completely flat. It goes back to that same old thing. I mean, I don't know how you felt about it when they was charging you $14.95 to watch a game on TV.
Didn't pay it at all. I mean, I'm personally, all I care about is England and West Ham. I don't give a monkeys about Liverpool, Man City, or anything like that. All I do is I'll just literally pay. When the Fulham game was supposed to be pay-per-view, it was going to be Fulham's third or fourth game, if I remember correctly. But because I don't have Sky or BT at home, so up until when they were saying about 15 quid for a pay-per-view, up until then I was using Now TV and I was using the BT Sport app to watch the games on the telly. I thought no way. I didn't do it at all after that, and so I did all the live streams using my not so legal company, shall we say. I mean, it's legal from the EU rulings because I pay them a subscription, but yeah, it's hence, like for example, when the games have been about a minute and a half behind what everyone's when people have got Sky and everything, because I don't see why we should have to pay to watch telly that's broadcast in our own country on top of everything else that we're already paying for. This whole 3 o'clock broadcast rule should be just removed. It really, I mean, it has been for the moment, because you're able to watch the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Amazon again soon, which we'll come on to in a minute. And we're able to watch them on BT. We're able to watch them on the BBC. We're able to watch them on Sky. So why not just get rid of the rule and just have everybody just enjoy it permanently? I genuinely can't think of anybody that is a season ticket holder and loves going to any football ground, not just the London Stadium, any football ground, that would think, no, I'm not going to that. It's on telly. I can't think of one.
No, of course not. No, you'd rather be there in the atmosphere and you know, the atmosphere the whole day. That's what you go there for, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a big part of everybody's social life, which is one of the reasons why I do the watch-alongs. In actual fact, Tony, if you'd have seen this channel a couple of years ago, I was the only one that's doing watch-alongs for the away games. The only channel that was doing it.
Wow.
Because
that's it all.
You know, because that's how important it is. You know, it was just I thought to myself, well, if I'm sitting at home, there's going to be other people sitting at home wanting to watch games with other people that are watching it, and that's so I started doing it. It was Watford away, if I remember correctly, the last game of the season a couple of seasons ago. That was the first time I absolutely did it, and I've been doing it ever since. And of course, even if we weren't having the lockdown, I'd still be doing the away games. Because at the end of the day, it's the bread and butter of this channel. And you know, obviously it's improved a lot over the last couple of years with my lighting and everything else and that. So, and I'm very, very grateful for you to being a Patreon. Of course, I cherish each and every one of you, which is why when you sign up, you get to do this completely open questions with me, because it's the least I can do, just to interact. Hopefully when I get a few more Patreons, I'll be doing a monthly live one-to-one with patrons, purely to keep that relationship going. But all of the Patreons joined in for all the live streams, for the watch-alongs, for the weekly. So we're all interacting. That's what I love about the channel. And if I remember correctly, when you said last week that you were because I know that that Luke from Three Hammers was talking about it as well, that there's a nice intimacy with my channel, and that's the whole point. It's like sitting in a pub with a mate watching the football.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so that's what kind of intrigued me and gained my interest. Is it was different, so that's what I liked about you. So yeah, keep it up. It's doing well.
Yeah, I will keep it up as long as people will be watching. It'd be nice to have a few more subscribers, as it always would be, but I'm not doing it for the pittance that YouTube pays me. I'm not doing it for the subscribers. I'm doing it for the general health of everybody. Like, because I did the weeklies as well. You know, it's just because when we need times to interact with each other, and the more anybody can do, the better our mental health as well, for that matter, is just as important as our physical health.
Yeah, because of course during these times, we need that kind of thing. We need that kind of, like you said, that bond.
Yeah. And it's nice that we've got a nice group of people in the community, and on top of the guys that are Patreons as well, that just come in, know that I'm going to be broadcasting it every Wednesday at 7:00. So we come in, we talk for an hour. I mean, when the lockdown first happened, I was doing daily chats, and as great fun as it was exhausting, because it's working. Because I was working from 9:00 until 8:00 at night. Because it was, I mean, I didn't class it as work, but when you're I was trying to find things to talk about, to keep the conversations going every day, and that's why I had to cut it down to weeklies, because it was hard work. But we've got some good people, and as I said, I'm very grateful that you've pledged your support for the channel. That the £4.50 you pay each month is gonna help. It's gonna help go towards keeping this channel running, and that's what it's for. And also, the more Patreons we get, the more exclusive content we're going to have as well. And when I say exclusive content, for example, with the League Cup, such as it was, I was doing purely Patreon only commentary for the games.
Okay,
so if you go back now, your Patreon, go back and have a listen to those and let us know what you think. I mean, it was we only had, was it three or four games that I could comment on, but it was just purely for just giving us, again, like you say, mate, just having something a little bit different. Now, I'm not a great commentator. I'm going to hold my hands up. I'm not great at it. I don't know. I'm not like, it's not like you switch on BBC London and you're listening to how they do it. I don't know how many times this bloke, the guy that's trying to score, how many goals he's got and all that sort of stuff. But I'm learning with it every single time, and I'm pushing my ability on this channel to engage people and to get new viewers in. And I'm very very grateful that you joined up so quickly, and you subscribed on the for the Fulham game, and it was we do have. Sorry, I'll finish the commercial in a minute. We do have some viewers that are not West Ham supporters. We have a guy that we have a few Liverpool fans that come in. We have an Arsenal fan every now and again. It's good fun. I enjoy it.
It's good, and diversity, isn't it? At the end of the day, that's what it's all. Football fans getting together and and having a chat about
Yeah,
things.
because for the exact same reason you've been saying, mate, it's just because we're not having that opportunity to talk football as much as we used to, and it's good. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it. Right, okay, so as we've mentioned before, we eventually started going live. The December fixtures have been released. So I think we'll start off with just obviously focusing on our fixtures. So the first one that's been adjusted is a 5:30 kickoff on Saturday, the 5th of December. Man United at home. What are your thoughts on that game, mate?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? When you look at Man United at the moment, they're just not kind of firing at all at the moment. I mean, they've got certain players. I mean, Fernandez, he's obviously can be dangerous if you give him the opportunity. I mean, for me, when you look at Rashford and Martial, they're just a bit too greedy on the ball and don't look for the opportunity to give the right pass at the right moment. So hopefully we've got an opportunity to get something out of this game. I think we definitely have.
Oh, I completely agree. Completely agree with you, mate. I mean, just the way that we've been playing over the last few weeks alone is enough for me just to think to myself, we've like you say, they're not playing the best of football at the moment, Man United. I mean, they are, to a degree, they are pretty fortunate to be where they are in the league, but that's been Man United all over. They've always been like that. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite a tasty game. I really, really do. Especially bearing in mind that we've got Villa on Monday night, and that game pretty much the weekend straight after. It's going to be an entertaining one. It looks like Skype's playing up again, mate. The image is jumping around, but you can still just about see it. It'll correct itself in a little while. There, it's starting to get back in now. It's just, honestly, it's one of these days I'll learn how to fix this stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a good one, but again, so it's on Sky Sports, which is quite good from our point of view. Even though I never listen to Sky Sports commentators. I mean, I can't obviously when I'm doing the watch-alongs, but for copyright reasons. But it's good. And also the next one we've got is Leeds away on Friday, the 11th of December at 8:00 again on Sky Sports. Now this is going to be a very, very entertaining game, I reckon. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I watched them play against Arsenal on the weekend, and when you look at it, the one thing they're obviously lacking is scoring. I mean, creating chances is not a problem for them, but scoring, I mean, they should have wiped Arsenal off the board.
Absolutely.
Something like that, I think we've got a really good chance. I mean, that Phillips, I don't know, for me, he seems a bit of a liability for them. So I think we can get something out of him. But in general, no, I think there's definitely a 3-pointer for us.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on there, mate. I mean, with while the game was going on, I was talking to a mate of mine who's a Leeds supporter, and he was telling me that they had. I can't remember if it was all over the entire game or it was just in just the first half, but I think it was in general the entire game. They had 25 shots. 25 shots, and they couldn't beat Arsenal. And you're absolutely spot on there, mate. And as I say, for me personally, I really, really wish we could be at Ellen Road. I really, really do, because it's one of the grounds that I've always wanted to go to, and this is probably going to be the only opportunity. No disrespect to any Leeds fans that are watching, but this may be the only opportunity we get to play them up there. But don't get me wrong, Leeds are playing some good football. They are playing some beautiful football, but as always, when like with the Pellegrini way, we were talking about a little earlier, you can play beautiful football all you want, but if you can't score, you can't score. Leeds had a cracking start to the season. Their first game against Liverpool was incredible, absolutely incredible game.
Yeah, I think no one saw that coming.
No, and likewise, Leeds went on quite a good run for the first 3 or 4 games of the season, and then all the others usual sort of stuff started piling in. But yeah, very, very good. But it'd be nice to have 3 points out of that. I'm not so sure. If we do, I reckon it's going to be very close, just because of the way that Belisa is setting up the side. I genuinely do. But I'd be absolutely ecstatic if we get 3 points out of that. It would be a fantastic run. It really, really would. Okay, so the next West Ham game on telly is on Amazon Prime, 16th of December. West Ham versus Palace. London derby.
Palace, no, for me, they're just our bogey side, aren't they? Sometimes we just, I don't know. There's something about them we just can't click in their games. We always seem to kind of make mistakes, or we create something that gets cut out, and they go down the other end and they put something against us. Yeah, especially Zaha. I mean, when you look at him, he's always a danger man for them against us. He loves playing against us.
And I don't blame him, to be honest with you. I generally don't blame him because, like you're saying, we're always he's always guaranteed to get a goal or two out of us. I've always, ever since the playoff final in the 2004-2005 season, I've always been apprehensive of Palace. Always. Up until then, we were all right with them, but yeah, more recently they have been a big. I wouldn't say bogey to. I say more of a thorn in our sides because.
Yeah, probably a better word, I suppose. Yeah,
because we on paper, with the exception of Zaha and I think Townsend is still there as well. With the exception of those two players, Palace don't really have that much to give. They really don't. You keep those two quiet, and you're winning the game. And I really hope Moyes sees that, has that same mentality. But yeah, we never. I mean, what was it? A couple of seasons ago, we don't help ourselves. Like, for example, what was it? Was it 2-1 up to with like 3 minutes to go, and then we conceded that late equaliser due to Antonio mucking around. You know, it's just. It's always in the London derbies. I love a London derby. I absolutely love it, and don't get me wrong, guys. As much as I love doing the watch-alongs, if I've got a ticket for this, I'm there. I don't care. I really don't care. I'll be there for the game. I really will. I'll be missing everybody, so I won't be able to do the live ones. But I'm not going to miss a London derby at home, because even if we've got up to 2,000. I mean, we could have 1,500 there. We could have 16, 17. We just don't know at this stage. But yeah, even with the limited amount of people that are going to be there, it's going to be an entertaining atmosphere. It generally will be.
Definitely.
Okay, so where are we? And then Monday, the 21st of December, away to Stamford Bridge, 8:00 on Sky Sports. So another London derby, mate.
Yeah, these are always good games. I always like when we play them, especially obviously with Lampard being there. He's still got a grudge against, even though it's the old board. He's got him firing at the moment. There's no two ways about it. And by that stage, I don't know. He's going to be up the top. I think he'll nick top spot. So against us, yeah, we'll give him a game. We always have done. It's just a fact of, can we actually kind of win it for a change?
Well, we won it last season away. I was fortunate to be there just before Christmas. That was an amazing day. That was the day that Fornals proved himself, as far as I'm concerned. That was when he really started to kick on and become a decent footballer. I know he's had a lot of critics recently, and quite rightly so. I don't think, as you'll see from the preview when he goes up tomorrow on Patreon, I think some of it's been a little bit unjustified. I think people are just having a go at him just for the sake of having a go at him. But at the same time, that, and likewise with Bowen as well, for that matter. Bowen's has had a lot of criticism recently, and again, most of it is justified, and some of it isn't. I mean, what are your thoughts on those two?
I mean, looking at Fornals now, I think sometimes he tries a little bit too hard, and then for the areas he gets himself into. Again, it goes back to like Martial or Rashford, looking for a layoff to a player's in a better position. And Bowen's in the same category. I mean, you look at in the last game, I think who is it now? I think he had Haller there, and I think who is it now? I'm trying to think who the other player was. But he could have just laid it across. There's two players running in. It was just a simple tap across, and it's a goal. But no.
Yeah, that was. He did that a couple of times against Fulham, wasn't it? When he could have played in Bowen a couple of times. Yeah.
And when you look at things like that, it's one of those. So, as you said, the kind of comments that they're getting is justifiable because obviously the way they're not thinking. If they were playing, I mean, when you look at Fornals, don't get me wrong. I mean, there is something there. You could see that. It's just the fact of unfortunately, maybe it's that left-hand side. He's playing like an Anderson at the moment, and that's why he's getting the stick.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you, mate. And there's just, as I say, it is. But at the same point, we've got. If that's all we're complaining about, I'm happy. I am genuinely happy. Nobody in the world would say that we were going into the 10th game of the season, which we will be this weekend, with a plus goal difference and being within touching distance of in touching distance of giving the top six a run for the table. It's the table positions, I should say, rather than we're not going to win the league, but the table positions. It is. It's mental. I mean, I said by the end of November that I genuinely thought we would have 5 points. That's all I saw. 1 point from September, 2 points from October, and 2 points from 3 points from October, and 1 point from November. I think it was, and the team have absolutely blown us out of the water for that. So as I say, if we are complaining that a couple of players aren't setting players up because there's more goals to be scored, I'm very, very happy with that overall, because we're normally complaining about how shit our defence is, how terrible our midfield is, but if we're worried about midfielders not scoring...
Well, you know what we're like. We're very fickle at times, aren't we, West Ham fans? I mean, one minute we're happy and glory, because someone summed up the other day, when you think about it, at the moment, no one's on Brady, Gold or Sullivan's back, because everything's going nice.
Well,
but we shouldn't forget about, beyond the back room, what's going on there, so we can't forget that side of things. But going back to what you said, the goal difference, we're in pluses for a change. When was the last time we were doing that?
Mate, I can't remember, especially this early into the season.
That long ago. It is that long ago. So that in itself is a great achievement.
I mean, if I remember correctly, I think at Bilic's first season with us, or Allardyce's last. It was one of the two. That in January we had a plus goal difference then. I think it might have been Bilic, because I remember sitting in the supporters club, saying, "The bloody hell's this? This isn't the West Ham I know. This is a good West Ham. We've got a plus goal difference in January. What's going on?" It is hard work from that point of view, because we just know. But at the same point, mate, as I said, if we're all complaining about our midfielders not scoring, which is always where most of our goals come from anyway, then yeah, I'm happy with that. Very, very happy, man, at the moment.
Thank you, right there. We should be very content with it at the moment.
And what looks like the Boxing Day home game, West Ham versus Brighton, 2:15, Sunday the 27th of December, live on Sky. So again, what are your thoughts with this game?
I think it's not going to be an easy game. I mean, when you look at it, he's got them actually kind of playing fairly well now, isn't he? I mean, Malpai he's a danger man for them, no matter what you look at. He may go down quite easily, but defensively, I think we can easily exploit them. So I think with that game and that, I think it'd be an hard game, and I'd say more of a draw coming at that one. I have to be kind of optimistic. I think a draw.
Yeah, we've always had hard games against Brighton. Even when we were down in the Championship with them, we struggled to get a win against them for as far back as I can certainly remember. That's for sure. I know for a fact that when they came up under Houghton, we only got more than a couple of points in that first season, if I remember. Or I think we got a point. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very tasty one, as long as it's not as a repeat of last season's Brighton home game when I absolutely lost it with Elia that day. He was awful. There's a post match. There's a fan cam with me and Nicky on West Ham Fan TV, and I'm dropping the C-bomb. every other word when I'm talking about Elaine. Now, as you know, mate, I don't swear all that much.
No.
And I was even Luke from Free Hammers when he did his post match discussion about it the day after, he said, "I can't believe how the language JP was coming out with. I've never heard him that angry." It was.
I think our mindset, or say the team's mindset, is a completely different beast to what it was when we played them last. So hopefully, with that should work in our favour.
I'll have to try it just in case. I'll have to see if I can install a beep button on when we play him, because I mean, I've defended Allaire as much as I can over the last couple of seasons, this season and last, I should say. But yeah, that day, no, it was another level of disappointment. But unfortunately, we've never seen that again with him, so that's good from that point of view.
I mean, my view on it is, like I said, I think I said before, Moyes for some reason doesn't like playing a front two, and I think when you look at someone like Haller that came from Eintracht, that's what he lived off of.
Yeah,
that's what he assists from. That's what he got his goals from. But we don't do that, so of course we're expecting something out of a player that's not used to our kind of way of playing. I mean, if you look, I'll go back many years ago, Darren Bent, when he came from Charlton.
Yep.
Charlton, he was scoring goals for fun. Goes to Spurs. Ramos doesn't play the way that he was playing. Got nothing out of Benty. And then before you know it, off he went. So Haller's in that kind of same frame. I think when you think about it, one good thing that Antonio's good on, he's running off the ball.
Yep.
He can win the ball is in the air. There's the opportunity for him to get more goals possibly. But yeah, I think it's one of those. They've got to have a little bit of faith in each other. Managers have faith in them to play up front. But I think, I don't know, we do need another striker. That's something that is, severely lacking at the moment. Especially like, Antonio being injured. Hopefully he's going to be back shortly. But we do need another out-and-out striker that's going to get us goals.
I 100% agree with you, mate. And was it yesterday? Tony was saying about Roder and Tony. Tony was saying that if we keep going the way we're going, I'll be happy for nobody to be bought in January. And I see why he's thinking that. Generally see why he's thinking that. But yeah, we have to get a third striker in there. It's logic. We can't rely on Antonio. We can't rely fortunately we were very happy. We were very fortunate that Allaire didn't pick up an injury at all last season, but he will soon. And if he does, and Antonio's not fit enough to play, we are lummoxed. I can't think of anybody. Mate, all right, okay, Bowen can play second striker. Ben Rama can do it as well. Ben Rama can play as a centre forward as well. So, AKA the false, the false number 9. But I wouldn't risk it. I genuinely wouldn't risk it.
I don't know your views. I mean, I don't think we can rely on Lanzini to get us much out of it. When you look at, he's a fringe player at best now, unfortunately.
Yeah, with Lanzini, it's like with Creswell. When Creswell had that horrible tackle that left him out for a long time, it took him about 2 or 3 seasons to get the confidence to start making tackles as much as he's doing now. And it's the same with Lanzini. He's come back from an awful ankle injury. I'm not justifying it in any shape or form. He's irritated me a lot, but at the same time, you've got to give the guy credit where credit's due. But putting
because at the end of the day, he's been a good servant for the club. It's just the fact, like I said, it's one of those where his chances are very limited at the moment. Unfortunately, he's put into that kind of being a fringe player at the moment. I agree with what you're saying. The injury, not everyone can recover or kind of come back like they were before. I mean, if you look at Mark Lowen was one of the same. You might even say Rooney was the same. Once he was injured, and that never was the same player. I just see that he's actually kind of been the first for Derby on Saturday against Wickham. That'd be an interesting one for him.
Sorry, Tony, mate, you broke up then. Can you just repeat what you said?
Yeah, Wayne, I've seen he's actually kind of been in the full charge of Derby on Saturday against Wickham.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because obviously there was a lot of talk of him being player manager for him for a little while, and now all of a sudden, yeah. So fair play to him. See how he gets on with it. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, they can't do much worse, to be fair to him, can he? But apart from obviously getting them relegated. And the last game of December, Tuesday the 29th, Southampton away, 6:00 on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Another.
See, they're another one. You know, with Southampton now and Hassenhall, he's I don't know. They're a strange setup. He's got them playing well, but then again, they're similar to the old Bolton days kind of thing. You know, you don't know what team was going to turn up. So we're hoping that it's going to be one of those days where they're not firing on all cylinders, and we can exploit that. And
I mean, Southampton are as AJ from the now defunct Kiwi Hammers, a good mate of mine. He calls Southampton the cockroaches of the Premier League because they just won't get relegated. They won't die at all. And you know, and to be fair, like you're saying, Hasselhotel's given them some good. They've been playing some good football. What was it? 12 and a half months ago was that massive defeat by Leicester when they pummeled them. What was it, 6 or 7-0, whatever it was, 5 or 6-0. And it's entertaining that we're now 12 months later and they were top of the league for a day and a half.
Yeah, but you know, again, as you said, what a turnaround.
It's all about buying into the manager's mentality of and his ethos and getting in the players that they need at the end of the day. That's all that's happened with any successful side. And likewise, one of the reasons why we're playing so well is because Moyes has got players that are more suited to his way of playing. Souček, I'm still 50-50 about him being a Moyes player. Bowen's Moyes written all over him. But you know, obviously bringing in Soufal as well, absolutely buzzing with it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Ben Rama's capable of. We all know what he was able to do in the Championship, but can he step up in the Premier League? I hope so. It'd be nice if we get to see him this weekend. But we just don't know. We'll never know what's going to happen there at the minute. So okay. So just to recap out of that. So we have Man United at home on the 5th of December. Then where are we? Where are you? Where's the second one?
Leeds.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it because it's splits. Yeah, Leeds West Ham on the Friday the 11th of December, and then after that West Ham Palace, and then Chelsea away, and then Southampton. So yeah, it's gonna be a tasty December. It's gonna be a tasty December. So, what do you reckon out of those fixtures, mate? What do you reckon the points you'd like to see on that?
I think if you look at it, I'll be optimistic on 9 points for me.
I'm thinking 6 or 7, but yeah, not that far behind you. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we get a couple of losses, at least one loss out of that. Because the West Ham way is to lose, draw, and win. We never have a period of time where we just have win, or draw, or we do have lose, but we don't have a nice. We always have a relatively even blend. We'll have a couple of wins and a couple of draws, or a couple of wins, a loss, and a draw, sort of thing. So, but yeah, that's good. Yeah, we're all roughly thinking the same sort of thing by the sounds of it, and I really do say I can't complain. Normally, I always say to Nicky when I talk to him on West Ham Fan TV or when I'm doing any of the stuff for the channels, I always try and look at the positives, and that's all we've got to look at the moment. We're fine with the injuries. I mean, Antonio's 50% chance of coming back for the fixture this weekend, so I don't think he'd be in the squad. Yarmolenko's still isolating from COVID, but he's a fringe player anyway, so yeah. We're pretty good to go for the next few weeks. Touch wood.
Yeah. I think it's, as you said, it's the next couple of weeks will be very exciting. I mean, going back to what you're saying, being typical West Ham and that, you can just see it now, can't you? Upset ourselves for Christmas and that when they lose a couple of games, and then happy for the new year when we start winning again.
Yeah, and it'd be nice that if we can come out of December without a loss. My guts say that we will get a loss in there somewhere, but I can't see where. I don't know which game it's going to be. I'd hate it to be Leeds because I'll never hear the end of it. Never hear the end of it from Steve. I really won't. Especially if we play badly, I'll never hear the end of it. I would take a loss against Chelsea because we're used to it. Bearing in mind, obviously last season we got a win out of it, and we got a very good win at the end of last season with them as well. But yeah, Southampton, I wouldn't be happy losing to.
I think this game.
Maybe.
I think. Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, we always seem to, lose ourselves when we go there for some reason. I think we just get to kind of lack.
It is. It's that old cliche. I don't mind losing as long as we play well. It's. And you never know. You just never know. But that's what we love. That's what we love and hate about football, is because we just don't know what the hell's going to happen. We can predict it for little times, but this season, it's completely open. But yeah, so Tony, before we wrap this up, mate, is there anything that you want to ask me? Because it's an open Q&A. You've asked a few questions, obviously, but anything else that you were thinking of, or anything you want to talk about?
I've actually kind of spoke to some of my friends and that, trying to get them to join on board and watch your streams.
Thank you.
Hopefully we get that going on board and that. But no, appreciate what you do. I know it's hard work. I know you have your technical issues every now and then. Stick with it, mate. It will get better.
Yeah, it's more frequent since I've been using this open broadcast software. That's for sure. But one of the reasons why I'm persevering with it is because I can have so much more freedom than using StreamYard. StreamYard was what I was using beforehand. Is very, very good, very, very good. But you can do 95% of it with in the other operating system, but it's manually using it. It's manually putting everything together, which is what I'm struggling with. But I'll get there. As I said, when I first started using StreamYard, August of last year, and even when I was doing the daily live chats, I was closing things down I shouldn't have been, and some of the streams just disappeared completely. So it's because I'm clicking places I shouldn't be. So it's all getting used to it. But I don't know. Maybe it's my age. I didn't grow up with all this sort of stuff, so I'm gonna use that as an excuse until the day I die, quite frankly. But yeah, obviously the guys don't know the technical issues that we were having before we went live, which is why Tony's not making any comments at the moment. But yeah, no, it's been absolutely fantastic to talk to you, mate, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do another one of these live at one point, because I want to try and put these onto. Do this as a proper Patreon stream so the patrons can do it, but we'll do that at some point, I'm sure. But
yeah, order that.
But
yeah, we'll be well up.
But guys, but as I say, Tony, thank you very, very much for your time. We've obviously gone over a little bit longer than we wanted to, but I know you're not busy and I'm not busy tonight, so that's good from that side of things. It's not they have to rush off 20 minutes ago or anything, so it's good. So Tony, enjoy the rest of your evening, mate, and hopefully we'll be able to speak on Sunday on Monday night for the live Villa watch along.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks again for your time, John. Much appreciated.
Yours, mate. All the best. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.